So, hello Nick, thank you very much for coming in today to this
Hi Olivia, hi.
Pleasure to see you. We've got a few questions for you that everyone I'm sure want to hear about. So the first thing first, what is it that drew you to the SE Artist model?
Ultimately, it's for me the quality of the tone. My first Yamaha instruments, having spent a long time with buffets, were the CSG3s, and it was a completely different sound world, one which I've been kind of looking for. It was the centered warmth, the darker quality that that is what I've been kind of searching for. I tend to produce a bright sound. I think that's as a legacy of my father was a clarinet player, and I grew up hearing him playing 10/10s, and there was that. So that's still that kind of right in my kind of subconscious. That's the sound world that I inhabit on a clarinet, and I tend to make a bright sound. And the Yamahas, they enabled me. Suddenly I played the CSG3s and I thought, wow, this is different. This is that more darker, focused, warm sound without such a bright quality to it. So that was what drew me to Yamahas. But at that time I was still in the LPO, and I tried the SE Artists, and for me they offered the kind of the best of both worlds. They've still got the darker, warmer sound, but they've also got the projection that I think one needs what I needed anyway, in the LPO, which naturally produces a very big sound anyway. It's a big sounding orchestra. We have a rich, full sound, and the SE Artists offered me that warmth of sound, but still the brightness that enables the projection when necessary. So for me, that they were the best compromise, and still are.
So what do you look for when you're selecting a new instrument?
Well, it's a combination of things. The keywork's got to be comfortable. Got to feel comfortable, natural. I'm looking for a combination of an instrument that's in tune. It's got to be in tune, with the setup that I've got. I've just got to have a warm sound. It's got to be even, so that you know some notes don't jump out and some notes are rather covered. So an even response, warm tone, in tune, nice keywork. I mean, it's a whole combination of things, you know. And you know, clarinets from every manufacturer are a compromise of all those things, and it's whichever compromise you like the best, I suppose.
Fantastic. And we notice when people are testing instruments, they always have something that they keep coming back to, a little motif, a little test. What is it that you do on every single clarinet that you play that really is the ultimate test for you?
It's not one thing, but it's one composer. I continually return to playing Brahms when I'm trying instruments, whether it's the sonatas, or particularly B-flat, the sonatas, or the solos from the orchestral repertoire, the Third Symphony, slow movement of the First Symphony. That's a deliberate mistake, by the way, because that's written on the A clarinet, but I always play it on the B flat because it's easier. Always Brahms, because it seems to the way he writes, it seems to require all of those ingredients that I'm looking for. I want it to be as warm and as centered, focused a tone as I can. It's got to be perfectly in tune, and you can hear that even when you're playing it on your own. The notes have got to respond evenly. It's no good playing the opening of the second movement from the Third Symphony, and the D is beautifully, but the D speaks beautifully, but maybe the E doesn't speak so well. They've got to speak evenly and respond evenly. So, and Brahms for me highlights the difficulties of playing the clarinet, as well as, you know, the beauty of it. But for me, it's the one composer where everything has got to work. Not the one composer, but I can come back to it time and time again. It is my go-to, that highlights all my own kind of inefficiencies or deficiencies as a clarinet player. So yeah, Brahms.
Fantastic. I'm sure people will start digging out all the Brahms now and testing
Right.
on their instruments. So what key piece of advice would you give a musician when they're selecting an instrument?
Well, I suppose the same as I said to the previous question. You've got to find an instrument that feels comfortable. You've got to like the sound of it. It's got to be as in tune as possible. You know, it really has. It's got to work with your mouthpiece. You've got to like the sound. It's got to feel comfortable. It's got to respond evenly. And I think these days, certainly I know with Yamaha, even at the less expensive range of instruments, their instruments do feel comfortable. They are in tune. They are, you know, they do respond well. And so you know, those would be what I would say. You've got to trust your ears in a way, and don't just go on what your friends do or what your teacher says.
That's a key piece of advice there.
Yeah, trust your ears.
Very good.
So and let them guide you as to what you really like.
Fair enough. Lovely. And we've had a request online. They would like to know what the rest of your setup is.
Sure. Mouthpiece is a Licastini, Alessandro Licastini. I've had that now for probably about 18 months. No, just over a year. And it's the LN model, which I believe stands for Licastini Nuovo, which means, you know, obviously Nuovo, new Licastini. So anyway, it's lovely. I like it. Feel very comfortable with it. The ligature is just a standard Rovna ligature. I've stuck with the ligature again. When I've mentioned previously when I was on different instruments, you have to change the mouthpiece on its own when going from B flat to A. And my criteria for a ligature is got to hold the reed in place. When you're doing quick changes, I've experimented with other ligatures, and maybe, you know, there's a sound is one slightly, but if it moves when you do a quick change in the orchestra, you're sunk. You just can't have it. Try playing La Bohème with a ligature that doesn't hold the reed in place, and you can't do it. So for me, that's almost the number one criteria. It's got to hold so I can really do quick changes, and that's obviously not so imperative now because with the Yamaha I changed barrel and mouthpiece.
Okay, so you use the
same barrel, so that's easy. So I could possibly go for something slightly more expensive, but actually I like the sound and it's convenient. And reeds are the D'Addario concert, no, they're called Reserve Classics.
Yes.
Reserve Classic, that's it, yes. Which again, I've been using those now for 3 years, and I like. You get more out of a box of D'Addario that work, but more importantly, I like the response, I like the sound, and they seem to last well. They're very consistent, so you know, that's great. I'm very happy.
Yeah, they've certainly been a popular reed in recently.
Have they?
Yeah.
I can absolutely understand it. They seem to work very well. So that's my setup.
Lovely. Thank you very much for answering our questions. We're
Pleasure.
looking forward to hearing you this afternoon, and yeah, have a great day.
Great, thank you very much.